Hey, I'm Josh and I like to make stuff, and today we're going to transform this janky closet into an organized space.
As you can see, I'm in the middle of working on a huge project at my house, and you're going to see that really soon. But rather than not having a video today, I'm going to send you over to Josh's house because he's got a cool project that he's about to start. I thought you might be interested.
My family plays a lot of games, and when my 3 small kids try to help clean up, they end up just throwing stuff in this old coat closet. But we don't use it as a coat closet because I built something else in the house that does that. But we're going to reuse this space to maximize the vertical area inside to help my kids clean up all this stuff. We can organize stuff better up in the top. We can house our vacuum cleaner and more chairs. We're going to transform this entire area to make it look really nice. One thing I'm going to try to address with this project is I want to make some trays that are roughly the same size as our most popular games, especially my kids' most popular games, so that there will be a uniform, standardized box that they can pull out so they stop losing pieces. This Candyland box has like 3 pieces in it, but we still have it. Okay, so this is in my disapproving parenting voice. This is why we're doing this. This right here, there's a game somewhere that's missing half of its stuff, and it's on the floor of a closet.
Also, there's your missing vacuum part.
Yeah, I didn't know I had those vacuum parts. I designed the entire closet in Fusion 360 so that my wife could see exactly what it's going to look like. She's happy with it, so now let's make a cut list so that we can break down material. In Fusion 360, there's a tool called the Arrange tool that allows you to create a cut list. It allows you to take components, select them all, and then arrange it on a piece of plywood. Once you have this, you can print this out, you can measure it, and then you can go take it out to your shop and get to work. I can do it. I don't know why, but I can do it. Okay, ow, that hurts. Let's go to my house. Here we are out at the farm. We haven't been out here in a while, but that's because it's turned into a temporary storage location for all of this cherry. Anthony and his wife found an auction site that allowed me and Bob and Anthony to buy all of this super thick, rough sawn cherry, and this is what we're gonna build the countertops out of. All right, I have to address something that's gonna bug me, and I'm sure it's gonna bug some of you. My cut list worked perfectly. It was really great, but I did not follow my cut list. So this big chunk over here, I had it rotated 90 degrees and I cut everything. So I ended up with these boards. Grain direction is running the length of the shelf, which is fine. And because I had that board turned 90 degrees, while the dimensions are correct, the grain direction is not correct. So it's gonna bug me. I'm gonna try to ignore it as long as possible. If my wife doesn't care, then I'm going to pretend that I don't care. One of the aesthetic choices I made in the closet design was that these shelves were going to be curved. Now you can make them simple rectangles if you want to. I find that kind of boring. Bob really likes dimensional, clean, nice, sharp lines, but because this is in my house, I want them curvy. To make that curve, I wanted to use a template. Now you can make a template if you have access to a CNC or a laser pretty easily, or if you have a long enough ruler, you can mark off the ends and you can bend that ruler to get your nice gentle radius. I don't have a ruler that large, but I do have access to a CNC, so I just made one myself. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark out each one of these shelves. I'm gonna place this template. I'm probably gonna double side tape this down, and then I'm gonna use my router with a flush trim bit and just hog out all that material so that each one of the shelves and the countertop are gonna have a nice gentle curve. Now, if a curve is not your particular style, that's the beauty of making something yourself. You can make this to fit your space, your desires, and your tastes. The problem is that the template that I made is too small. So if I clamp this here, the clamps are gonna get in the way of the router. So I need the template to get out of the way. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue this to the workbench so that it overhangs the edge. And I'll put another piece of this 1/4" MDF back here. I'll put the material on top of it, line it up, clamp the material to the table so that I can just run a router like that on the flat surface completely free of clamps, theoretically. Should put a straight edge over there. I'll make a whole jig. Yeah, I'm gonna make a jig.
Making a jig!
Dope, so my jig is finished. Hey-o, I made a jig. So now I can take each one of these shelves, I can lay it in this taped up, super glued jig just like so. I can clamp it to the table. The template is now under here, which works with my rail bit. So it'll ride underneath there, zip, 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 curvy shelf. Oh no! It fell on the bit! Watch this.
Oh no.
So I dropped the router on accident and I thought I caught it in time, but it fell on the bit. Okay, so the bit that I had and the entire reason I made this whole jig is now worthless. So I went over to Bob's while he was doing the flooring and I got his bit. He didn't have the same bit, he had the bit that I wanted originally, and he had the tape that I wanted originally, so all of this jig that I made, while completely effective and useful, is now useless. So I'm gonna undo this, I'm gonna go back to square one, because that's what making is. You figure it out, and you screw it up, and then you figure it out again.
Yep.
So these are the side panels for the bottom cabinet that's gonna hold all of the laser cut boxes. I made 3/4 inch dados and I have them spaced out as written here. And I'm gonna take this information and I'm gonna translate it to the table saw. I have my dado stack here set up for 3/4 of an inch. I'm gonna test it first to make sure that all my plywood fits because it's not all 3/4 of an inch. Have my walnut throat plate. I'm gonna measure, I'm gonna cut both the panels so that all of these lines are in the same place on both sides. Don't do it. Ah. All right, now that I've finished the storage unit that's gonna hold all the individual game boxes, and I have the upper shelves cut with the curve on the front, we're gonna address some of those later, but all that's done. Now we're gonna focus on the big countertop. There's no real reason to have a countertop in a closet, but I just like the separation between the lower stuff and the upper stuff to have a nice flat surface. And like we said earlier, it's not gonna be made out of all the walnut, it's gonna be made out of the cherry that we got at the farm. So just like all the other stuff that we do, we need to break down the rough lumber by using the joiner, the planer, and the table saw. It's gonna be really fun. Actually, Anthony wants to practice doing it. So I'm gonna do some of this and you may see Anthony do some too, because at I Like to Make Stuff, we all need to be better at what we're doing and we all need to practice. Anthony did a great job. We used the joiner, but my joiner is only a 6-inch joiner and these boards are definitely longer. So you can see that there's a lip right here. Now we need to use the planer, but the planer bottom has to reference off of a flat face. And right now this piece is, but this piece is not. So what we're gonna do is we're going to use this guy. It's a piece of plywood with sandpaper that I sprayed adhesive onto it just for a little bit of friction. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna place this on top of the flat part from the joiner, but up against that little lip. Just like this, we're gonna flip this whole thing over and we're gonna use this as the reference face in the planer now. So now once we pass it through a few times, like that, and then this top edge becomes nice and flat and parallel to the bottom of the plywood, you can get rid of the plywood and then we'll have a nice parallel chunk of cherry. At this point in the project, we're ready to hang the upper shelves. They're completely independent from the countertop and the box holder down below, so they can really go in any time. The thing that is the limiting factor is the edge of this plywood. Now, I talked about earlier that I might cover this with a face frame. Now, a face frame is just a thicker, usually a piece of 1x material that you would place on the outer edge of a box or a cabinet to give it kind of dimension and sometimes structural stability. But in this case, because we're working on this super slopey radius, putting a face frame on here may be challenging. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try this, I'm not sure if it's gonna work, is I'm gonna take this piece of cherry that I have left over, I'm gonna cut maybe a 1/2 inch, maybe a little less than 1/2 inch strip, maybe this wide, and I'm going to put it over here and I'm going to bend it. I think if I get a thin enough piece, I might be able to glue and maybe brad nail this along this gentle curve. We're gonna see, I'm not really sure, and if I don't like it, I can just edge band over it without a problem.
Like those back there?
Shush, don't look at those back there. That's the insurance, because I don't wanna have to do this again. If it works, I'll fix those. Let us know down in the comments below. Pause the video, go right down there whether you think this is gonna work, you think it's gonna break, or you think I'm gonna hurt myself. Those are the only 3 possible courses of action that I can foresee. Okay. Okay. This has been drying overnight. I'm gonna come back over the top with the card scrapers. I'll do that to even out just this one seam for a little bit and then come back and sand it, and then we'll cut the curve on the front.
How did that happen?
It's okay. I think it's okay. Okay, this is the clamp done. Now that the chip is drying, let's check in on this.
There's one way to take
It works. It didn't spring back and hurt anyone. Hey, it totally worked though. We'll have to sand this to get rid of the burn marks and fill up that stuff anyway, but I need to nip those on the table saw, so let's do that. All right, it's time to install the shelves. Now I had to do a little bit of forethought before we started putting these in. Because we have the brackets on the sides and the back of the wall, and because these are just about the same size as the wall dimensions, you can't just put all of them in. So what we did is we started from the top, lifted the shelf up into the empty space, attached the brackets, and then lowered the shelf down on top of it. We're gonna continue to do that all the way down till we reach the countertop height, because if we were to go from the bottom up, then this thing would get jammed and stuck and you couldn't really do it. So you gotta think through the order of operations, especially when your shelves fit the space as well as these are supposed to. This video is sponsored by Skillshare, and if you're new to the internet and don't know what Skillshare is, it's an amazing online learning community with tons of courses available to you in a wide array of subjects. Before I started working at ILikeToMakeStuff, I was a project manager at a big company, and now working in a primarily digital space, project management looks a little different. Skillshare offers a course by Nikki Henderson called Project Management in Real Life, which transforms those massive concepts of project management into very manageable day-to-day actions. We use project management tools for doing projects like the kitchen renovation and bathroom renovations, and even small stuff like the guitar builds that we made recently. Learning from home is amazing, and Skillshare facilitates that learning in a lot of different ways. You can take many of their courses, you can pick up where you left off, and they even offer live courses now. Everybody at ILikeToMakeStuff brings their own individual skill sets to what we do. Anthony is a videographer, Bob was a software engineer, and Forby is a graphic designer. Now, if I want to increase my skills in any one of those areas, I can go on Skillshare and I can find a course so that I can sound as smart as they do sometimes. And the first 1,000 people to click the link in the description get a free upgrade to Skillshare Premium membership on us. It's a win for you, it's a win for us. Check out Skillshare, and we'd like to thank them for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the project. I came back to Bob's shop so I could use the laser cutter to make all of these boxes. I need to make 9 of these. They're really simple. I use a site called MakerCase, which allows you to put in the dimensions of your box, whether you want a top, whether you want finger joints, and it spits out an SVG that you could send to a laser or to a CNC. It's super quick, really awesome if you have that availability. Now they do look kind of ugly, so my wife went to the store and got some decorative paper, and I'm gonna use some spray adhesive and some Mod Podge to put those on the front. We're gonna put little name tags so the kids know what games are in the boxes, and that should be it for this closet. The boxes are all finished. My kids put the games that they use the most in them. The closet is all finished. My wife is super happy, but Bob's coming over because he's done with the floors and I want to show it off to him. So let's check it out.
Wow.
Do you remember what it was last time you were over here? There was just junk on the floor.
It looks way better. It looks like super classy. And the curve is nice.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I wouldn't do the curves myself, but I'm just kidding.
So the goal was that it was supposed to be functional for the kids to use. It was still supposed to be able to house all the rest of the stuff we want to put in this closet and look pretty.
That's clever to get around the door frame.
Yeah, that door frame.
Yeah.
Tricky door frame.
That's cool. Good job.
Tricky.
The boxes turned out great, and the shelves look great, and it's more usable for your family, right?
It's way easier now for my kids to clean up. They can take out a box, they can put all the pieces in it, and they can put it back in the shelf. Before, in the coat closet, there was nowhere for them to put things, so it just ended up on the floor.
Yeah, this has enabled them to organize and learn how to organize.
Yeah.
It's super cool, too, because when they outgrow these games, they can put them back in the box to donate them, put a new game in the box, takes up the same space in the same closet. It's pretty awesome. Good job.
Thanks.
I hope this gave you some ideas for something in your house that could be better, something you can improve to make your life a little bit better. We've got tons of other types of projects that you may want to check out, and if you're not subscribed, be sure to do that as well. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
And today we're gonna transform this, ow! So this whole project, even though I mapped it all out in Fusion, my wife really liked it. Shut up, suck. We used that space, fart. I was trying to hold in a burp that entire time, and it probably sounded like it. Oh, Brody.